And we gon' bring you that dope.
And we gon' bring you that dope. Gator beater, baby. Main state to state, baby, coast to coast. Like the fire, baby, spark the joke.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
Come talk with Erica, man, talk with G. And all you gotta do is talk with me.
And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' give you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope.
Hey, what's up,
Oh, shoot.
everybody?
What's going on, everybody? I was just listening to it on the YouTube feed. You know, you gotta watch your own show to make sure everything cool, right? And I was like, wait a minute, hold on, what happened? Oh, we on there.
We on the air. Good
Welcome,
evening, everybody.
Yep. Welcome to the virtual congregation. How everybody doing on this Tuesday afternoon or evening, wherever you might be?
What's up? Welcome back to another Dope Discussions Live Tuesday evening. Welcome in. Come on in. Get your drinks, whatever you're drinking, your tea, your coffee, your wine, your water, whatever.
Hennessy.
Your
Your
I got my
tequila.
water bottle.
Are you doing
Gotta
the water?
stay hydrated. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
They say drink your water and mind your business.
Right, exactly. Sometimes you got to do that, especially with
Yes.
the big things that have been going on the last few days. You know, with everything in the news and everything, sometimes you just got to mind your business and just
Woosah.
woosah. Exactly.
Sometimes minding other people's business is really not good for your mental health.
It's really not.
And as y'all saw in the group chat this morning, I deleted TikTok from my phone. I'm just taking a break from TikTok because all of the amateur private detectives and private investigators, everybody's starting off with, I'm about to give my 2 cents. And I don't want y'all 2 cents.
You can keep that, man. You keep.
Yeah.
I got $1. Why I need your 2 cents?
Thank
But
you.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on. I mean, not just on TikTok, but everywhere. Twitter's infamous for, you know, once you turn them Twitter detectives on it, the case gonna be solved.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, there's so much stuff going on TikTok right now. I saw y'all posted. I wasn't able to chime in, but I saw the post about the NPCs, right? So these e-girls that's out there, right? you know, and it is kind of derived from this thing that a lot of Asian creators were doing, where they were like they have a bowl or something, they'd be scooping stuff out of the bowl and calling people's names and, you know, sending them the gifts and all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of been moved into a whole nother, you know, that girl, the main one that everybody talks about, Pinky Doll. You know, she
Pinky
made like
Doll.
she's averaging somewhere around $3,000 a live.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I need to start talking like that. I'm gonna find a way to where I could be an NPC.
I've been seeing other people on TikTok following her trend and trying to do it, and
Yeah.
it just it's not giving the same thing. Really,
Nah.
it's all weird to me, but
Right. Now, I'm gonna try it though. You gonna see me on there. Hey, how are you? Give you that dough. Yeah, give you that dough. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta keep saying it over and over in a row, like you stuck, like
exactly.
malfunction.
Sound like I'm scratching records over here. But hey, you know, more power to them if they can find that. If they can find somebody who will pay to just see them do that, and it's some kind of weird fetish thing. So I mean,
yes,
hey, if you can find somebody that'll pay for it and you know support it, hey, go for it.
Yes.
I just wish some of them would throw the coins away.
But over here
Right.
where we talk, we just want to bring some balance and some common sense back into the equation, you know, of the craziness that we see out there. So over here, we like to talk about mental health, self-improvement, you know, growth, healthy relationships. We still like a little ratchetness every now and then, because
definitely.
You know, it's just not, if the ratchetness was in you when you was growing up, it's just not gonna go all the way away. So
right, definitely. But you know what that is though? A lot of that is just us bringing levity to certain situations, because there's a lot of craziness that's out there, and they got people who talk about mental health. They talk about you know, building self and relationships and things, but they talk about it all wrong.
Yes, I think if you're
I would say
gonna,
it's a discussion. We have discussion.
yes,
We have
discussions.
interaction and things like that. Their platforms are mostly, this is how you do it. This is how, and it's just this. It becomes screaming matches. There are some podcasts, and I won't name no names, you know, but I mean they kind of fit and fresh. But there's some podcasters out there that literally invite people on of a certain ilk or demographic so they can argue and belittle and go back and forth, and you know, and it's kind of like that does nothing to help. That does nothing. You get into this whole, you know, one-upsman game. It's almost like when you tune into those shows like that, you might as well have your jersey on, rooting for your favorite team. And every time they get one over, touchdown. That's really what it is at the end of the day. That's the benefit of watching a lot of those shows, just to see them be able to dump on somebody or recover and score on somebody, and at the end of the day you feel better about your stance. That's not what we do here.
No, but over here we're going to talk about, and I feel like when you have these type of conversations, you got to be relatable. You have to come from a real world standpoint where you are not afraid to share your own experiences, personal and things that you observed, you know, with people around you and in the world. And you got to be aware about the world around you and what's going on in the world around you, and the things that are going on inside of us.
Yeah.
And so what we talk about are things that we've personally experienced. And we know that we're not the only people on this earth who've experienced these things. And this topic we're talking about tonight, me and Gator have actually talked about this before on maybe 2 or 3 of our other shows in the past. And we both have personal experience with being a relationship
Oh, yeah.
superhero.
Oh yeah, look, I've been the superhero and I've been the damsel in distress. I've been on both sides of the water on this one, so I definitely got
Yes.
experience on it.
Yes. So we're talking about Mr. Save Her and Mrs. Fix Him.
Mm.
And I cleaned up the title because I really wanted to say Miss Captain Save a Ho.
I wanna be saved.
Yes, because back in the day, that was
Oh Lord,
what
no.
we called a dude who was trying to, what they said, take a hoe and change into a
Mhm.
housewife.
No, don't get me into my E40 days. You're
Yeah.
about to throw me back. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
Yes, and Mrs.
Mhm.
Fixum, what they call her in the streets is Barbara the Builder,
Yeah.
trying to build a man, you know, and I've been guilty of that. Gator has shared experience of being, you know, trying to save somebody from themselves.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about why, you know, why do we do that? Why do you see people get into relationships where they want to be the fixer and the saver? They want to be the hero.
Yeah.
They go into the situation, you know, actually it's like they're attracted to the little, what they call the broken bird, the damaged bird, and they want to
Yeah.
nurse it back to health.
Yeah.
And then they hope that that bird will be so loyal and faithful, you know, and happy that they took them in and nursed them back to health, that they will be with them for the rest of their life. And usually it never happens that way.
Right. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't happen. I mean, most of the time in those scenarios, I mean, and there are different reasons that you do it, but I mean, many times, I know in my past that I had that syndrome bad. I could recall a few times where I was looking at myself after the fact. It was like, dang, bro, what was you doing?
What was you
what,
thinking back?
what were you thinking? You fool.
And think, and this is what I want to ask you: have you ever been in that situation where you got into a relationship with somebody and they had all these issues, all these problems, and you were always trying to come to their rescue, and you had friends and family around you on the outside looking in like, dude, can't you see what's going on? But
Oh
you
yeah.
couldn't hear them because you were so engrossed in the person and they need me.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had that happen. Definitely. As a matter of fact, I was talking to someone the other day, one of my family members, and they were reminding me of a particular situation that I had that was real similar, where I was literally like talking to my individual family members. I had invited her over for a Thanksgiving or something, and I remember talking to my individual family members, being like, "Hey, so try to be nice to her because she's a little awkward and she's this and this and this." And come to find out, she wasn't as awkward as she was playing, and she cut up, she turned loose. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I wasn't expecting that one. But,
Wow.
it was this whole sheltering the baby bird type of scenario, right? And
Hmm.
the whole time, instead of allowing the relationship to kind of grow and blossom, it was more of or for me to keep my eyes open for the signs and red flags. All I saw was, this is a person in need and I need to rescue this person. I need to make
Hmm.
sure that they're okay. They're a great person. They just have a few flaws, but I'm gonna see them for who they are and I'm gonna make them be great. Yeah, that didn't work out that well. But,
No,
it seldom does.
it seldom does, because it's, when I look back on it, it's coming from a place of insecurity. It's coming from a place of needing to be needed. Is coming from a place, for me personally, it was coming from my abandonment issues. And if I find somebody who needs me more than I need them, then I can kind of ensure and guarantee that they'll always be in my life because they're always going to need me. And I'm going to make myself so available and so valuable and so helpful to them that they would never want to go anywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I've experienced that on the other side coming towards me. I think with me, it was always more of the Superman complex, right? That I would
Hmm.
have. I always had this Superman, the savior type complex where I would be, you know, I'm faster than a speeding bullet. You
Yeah.
know, I can say whatever you got going on is never too much for me. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm gonna be able to hold up that building before it falls on you and all that kind of stuff. And in a way, I think part of it was it wasn't intended to do that, but guess what? It did feed my ego in certain scenarios, right?
Hmm.
Um Now other times it didn't do nothing but drain me.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you can be somebody's superhero and not save yourself. And that
Whew.
happened that happened many times with me that I can remember where I was being someone else's superhero. And I was stepping, in front of the freight train for them. And then, when I needed a handout, I didn't get it in return. Or
Yep.
they were so used to me being the savior that when I wasn't able to save them no more, I was of no use. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah. And I
it
think,
happens.
and a lot of times we hold anger and resentment towards that person when we really need to be
Hmm.
looking at ourselves, um, because there's there it's and this is another thing we do too. We fool ourselves into thinking that we're the victim of the situation.
Yeah,
I did all this for you, I've been so good to you, and I never get that back in return. And it's like, you didn't do it for the right reasons. Really, you were
right.
doing it out of a selfish void that you were trying to fill within yourself, even though it looks from the outside looking in, it looks
Yeah.
like you're the self-sacrificing person. You're giving more than you're receiving. Um, but you do want something in return. And we have some bullet points that I wanted to make sure we cover in the conversation, like you covered the first one, the savior complex. Some people
Yeah.
have the tendency to want to feel a need to rescue or save others. They might be drawn to partners who appear to have problems and challenges, and it fulfills their desire to come in and be that caregiver and that hero in the story. Because once the relationships come to an end, you have the story to tell of, I did this for them, I did that for them, they didn't
Hmm.
appreciate it, they don't know a good woman when they see one, they don't know a good man when they see one, and it's like that martyr syndrome,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, you could that could definitely be there. For me, it was always it was I can't say it was that for me. A
Hmm.
lot of the time, if I stuck around, then yeah, a lot of
Hmm.
times it would be that martyr syndrome. But
Hmm.
me, I would cut them off at the instant. I'll give a whole lot at
Hmm.
first, but then I'll be like, man, you know what? But but yeah, for me, and I think I told you this before, that there would be scenarios, and I can name a few where the more tragic the story, the better.
Yeah.
Like if it was like if it was normal, like I'm just a well functioning person who grew up in a two-parent home and graduated and such and such. Okay, you cool, but don't let it be I was abused as a child.
Yeah.
I had all of these mental health issues. I had you
Last
know
year I was
I
living
felt
out my car.
right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You must have read the textbook. Like I don't know if I can go on anymore. I don't know that. Oh wow, what? Hold on. I'd
Come
get my
here.
cape
Let
out
me
the
let me
cleaners,
help you.
have my
Hmm.
cape all ready and tied up and fresh. you know what I'm saying, and jump away, because it was always, you know, a scenario where I wanted to have that, and it was almost a turn on to
Yeah.
find somebody who had those, had issues and everything. Now, as I got older, I realized that ain't hitting no nothing. Because the last thing I need is to be self-sacrificing, because ain't nothing gonna be left if I'm self-sacrificing at the end of the day. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I'd stay away from it.
And like you said, it was music to your ears to hear the sad sob story, whereas another person would be like, "You got all that going on, and you want to have a relationship?
Hmm.
You need to
Right.
get yourself together first, because it sounds like you just looking for help."
Exactly. But I wasn't even thinking about it like that, right? Because I was just like, I'm just gonna jump in and, hey, I got you. Don't worry about it. But vice versa, I've been on the other end of that as well. I think I shared this with you. This when we did the whole show about date naps and things. This was before I was involved and all this kind of stuff. And I had met this girl who, she was nice. She was sweet, you know
Mhm.
and I took a real nice shine to her because she was normal. She ain't have no issues and parental problems and all that kind of stuff. She had no red flags as far as that went. So I was like, okay, cool. She just wasn't interested, and she actually told me, she's like, all of my friends think that you're an amazing person, and I think you're amazing, but there's no spark there. I don't understand what it is. I just don't have a spark for you. I was like, okay. And I remember telling you, watch, I'm gonna try something. And I was like, yeah, I got this issue with the rent. I got these things I'm trying to do, and I just kind of gave a sob story, but it's like, yeah, but it's okay. This was just, when we had decided we was gonna be friends. Yeah, but it's okay. And all of a sudden, it's almost like it just lit a fire in
Right.
her, and she started calling, and I just want to make sure you're good. I just want to make sure you're good. I think we need to give this a chance. I got this plan that I got that I think we can put you back on where you want to be. All I got to do is follow this plan and everything. And it was this whole outline, and I'm gonna show it to you because I think I still have it. Where it's a whole outline of things that we
Wow.
could do together in order to not only get me on top, but bring us on top because we are us now. And I'm
Soon as
like,
you started giving her all these sob stories, she was
right,
interested.
exactly. But
Wow.
all of a sudden, there was a fire, there was a spark.
She was
you know,
interested.
she was interested, and that's because she was that person. She was that,
You had
Miss
something for
Fix It.
her. Right. You had
Hmm.
something for her to fix, to work on,
Right,
because otherwise it's like, you don't need my help with nothing.
right.
So, like,
I got my ish together. She don't need me. She
wow.
know.
We
So
really need, as people, when getting to relationships, we really need to sit with ourselves and examine, what am I attracted to in this person, and why?
right, right,
Why?
exactly,
What is
exactly.
attracting me to this person? Is it something um healthy for me down the road, or is it something that's fulfilling an urgent need in me right now? And what
Mhm.
is that urgent need? What is it that I really need from this relationship or this person, that I feel like I can't get anywhere else or within myself?
Right. And that's what made me feel really icky about that situation, is because I knew that that was going to be her response in a way, right?
Hmm.
Because I think I was telling you about it. I remembered her telling me stories about how she ended up with these guys, and this is why self-evaluation in relationships is really, really important. She was
Hmm.
telling me about these situations she would have with guys where all of them had some sort of issue, and she was always the backbone and had to do it. And it wasn't that she was always the backbone, it was that she was picking people that she had to be the backbone for, because if she didn't have that, then she wasn't interested at all, you know?
Exactly. And the words that you just used when she said ended up with, no, you didn't end up with them. You chose them.
Right.
You chose them. And I remember this saying they used to say, you attract what you are. And I don't think that's really true, because I think you attract all different kinds of people. It's the people that you actually entertain
Right.
tells you a lot about yourself. Because you can be an attractive person, you're going to attract all different kinds of people, but who are you attracted to?
Right, exactly. It took me a while to learn that too, because I would always end up with these scenarios where it was almost a type. It would be
Mm-hmm.
the super pretty, the chick who had all kinds of issues at home, or she had mental issues, things
Mm-hmm.
like that, and it was just like, after a while, I was like, why do I keep attracting that? Oh,
Yes,
no, you know what? I am attracting other stuff. I'm just not falling for other stuff, you
exactly.
know, because I
I
started
was
going back and looking at some of the people that I was entertaining a little bit at the time. And I was like, well, she was good. She ain't had no issues, but I wasn't really feeling her.
I
And
wasn't
she
really
didn't have
feeling
no
her.
issues, but I wasn't really feeling her. But she did. Oh, she spent 2 years in jail. That one right there.
That's the one I wanted.
Right.
Yes. And
Exactly.
I did the same thing when I started reflecting back. I was like, when I was in my toxic mindset, I met a bunch of guys who were emotionally available,
Mhm.
expressive, but that wasn't what I wanted, because that was unfamiliar to me,
Mhm.
and I wasn't attracted to that because I wasn't emotionally available myself, even though I said consciously out of my mouth, I want a man to be open and expressive. But then when I got that, I wasn't attracted to that,
Of course not.
because the work had not been done within myself to be ready for that.
Exactly. And that's a problem, right? Because if you don't self-evaluate before you get into relationships, that happens. It
Hmm.
took me a while to really sit back and say, okay, I don't want crazy.
Hmm.
So I have to stop accepting crazy.
Yeah.
And once I did that, I was fine. And because that's what I started realizing, that a lot of it was literally who I picked and who I chose.
Yeah.
All women ain't this, all men ain't this, but the ones I choose are,
Hmm.
the ones who fit those pre-qualifications are. I was talking to a young lady a few weeks back, and she was like, and all these men that be coming my way, it's just, all of them just suck. At least the ones I like. And I'm like, that's, you hit it on the head. The ones you like, because she
Yeah.
definitely had a type. They got to be 6'4". They got to be a certain skin color. They got to be, I want them to be aggressive, but I want them to like walk up to the line and then walk back. Huh?
Come
I like somebody
on.
to manhandle. I want somebody who gonna be sweet to me, but gonna put me in my place when I'm right. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what you
Okay.
got going on. All
Yeah.
right, I
Yeah.
see.
No. Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Mm-mm. And it becomes, it's a thing with being, like, I think a majority of people are not fully inside of their bodies. Like, they're not fully physically aware of
Hmm.
their mental and physical cues, of like their subconscious,
Hmm.
and the things that go on in the back of their mind that drives them to do the things they do. They don't take time out to really bring their conscious and their subconscious mind together to see, when I react to a certain thing without even thinking about it, what makes me do that? They don't sit and
Hmm.
examine those things. And once you become fully aware of how your mind and your body processes different cues from the environment, different cues from people. That's when you examine that stuff and be like, oh, that's why I end up with toxic dudes, because when dudes say certain things like this, that gets my attention and that perks me up and that makes me want to know more about them, versus when a guy does this, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that turns me off. I don't even know why. I can't see myself with somebody like him.
Right.
You have to examine those things and ask yourself, why is that? And what does that remind you of? And where does that come from? And get to the root of that and then be like, oh, that comes from when my dad used to lie to me in my childhood.
Yeah. 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 I had I told you about a couple of times when I was out dating where I would meet girls and the whole being a gentleman thing was just like foreign to them, to
Mm-hmm.
the point to where it was a turnoff to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, taking this young lady. I was like, okay, I'm gonna, surprise her with, flowers for the first date or whatever. Nothing major. We're gonna do some flowers. And when
Yeah.
I brought the flowers, it was almost like I was giving her an alien species, just handing it to her. And she was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" And I'm like, those are flowers, and she just looked at them the whole night, and
Wow.
she was like, "I don't know if I like this. I feel like this is too much." I'm like, "Huh? Too much?" It's literally like a half dozen roses, and to be honest, they're not made up as good as they should be. you know. But
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. I just think that flowers are a little much. But she told me later that, that was something that her ex used to do. And it
Oh.
it was something that was kind of a turn off because of the fact that her ex used to do it, which is,
Hmm.
you're letting, and I think this is one of the bullet points. You're letting those past experiences that you've had kind of dictate, how you proceed with other people.
Yes. Because sometimes we put a lot of things in the category of red flags, when sometimes it ain't no red flag.
Mm-mm.
It's just a trauma response.
Right.
It just reminds you of something or somebody. Um, and that particular word, it might be a trigger word, it might
Yeah.
be a place, an environment that puts you back in the mind state of that particular event. You
Right.
say it's a red flag, but it's not.
Right.
Because to another person, it would be like, what you mean red flag? What? That don't even connect with me. It connects for you because you're connecting it to an event from your past. So you're making that a red flag, when
Hmm.
sometimes it's just a trigger, an unhealed trigger that needs to be worked on.
Right. I saw a podcast. They were talking about this the other day. This girl was on there saying how, a man opening the door for her is a red flag because that says that, he's trying too hard to impress you and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, we are really
And
challenged
to
in this society because
another
if
person,
like
to another
really,
woman, she will be like, if he doesn't open my door, that's a
it's a
red flag.
problem. Exactly.
So
Exactly. Which
yeah,
is, why these people take those things as facts,
yeah,
and not, say that everybody is different. Hey, you might want the
yeah,
guy who don't open doors, you know. You might just
yeah.
want the guy to say get in.
Yes. And another one of our bullet points, codependency. And
Mm,
that's a word I might have learned maybe 4 years ago. Um, and when I heard it and when I looked it up and started studying it, I realized that was me.
mm. It's been me before.
Codependency. Yeah, codependent individuals often form relationships with others who have personal struggles, as they rely on helping or being needed by their partners to feel validated, wanted, or important. And I think that goes, hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about trying to solidify your spot in somebody's life by being helpful and,
Mm-hmm.
doing things, and sometimes to the detriment of yourself, neglecting your own wants and needs to show that person that you'll always be there for them and doing things for them. And sometimes volunteering when you haven't even been asked,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then holding that person hostage with the fact that you've done these things for them. And sometimes it's like, but you did that on your own. I didn't ask you to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, one of those things that I say, there's nothing wrong with being nice. Nothing wrong with being a nice person. You know, I'm a nice person. You know, I get it from my mom. You know,
Hmm.
we just naturally just are that person that does things for people, and we're the people that everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're so sweet, da da da.
Hmm.
However, it becomes a problem when you're expecting reciprocation. When you're
Hmm.
sitting there saying, I'm being nice and I'm just waiting on them to come be nice back to me. If you're doing it
Hmm.
for that reason, then that's a problem. If you're just doing things out of the goodness of your heart, like donating to charity, or just helping people out. I'm just naturally, me personally, I'm naturally one of those people who just likes to give and just be, that kind of person. But
Hmm.
if I was doing it and then expecting, you know, oh well, yeah, so I did that for you. Now what you gonna do for me? And
Right.
what happens sometimes with those types of people, they may not say those words, but they keep a mental note of everything that they've done just so they can throw it back at you when they're not getting what they want. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, yeah, you remember when I did this? You remember when I did that? You remember when I did that? I ain't never seen nothing from, so that's when it's a problem.
Yeah. And that's where I hear a lot of women say, the quote unquote nice guys
Mm-hmm.
that, advertise themselves as the good guys, the nice guys, and they finish, good guys finish last. Women don't want no good man, and because they
Mm-hmm.
come in doing all these nice things for you, but it's conditional. And that's why a lot of women are skeptical about men when they come in doing all these nice things for you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, what are you trying to get from me? What are you trying to get out of me? What do you want in return for doing all these nice things? Because a lot of times the quote unquote nice guys are doing all that stuff to build up credit with you.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as something doesn't go their way, or you reject their advances, or you're not moving how they want you to move, you'll see them flip the script on you, and then they'll start to recall all the nice things they've done for you. And it's like, that's why they want you to do it in the first place.
Exactly. And not saying that there aren't nice guys out there, because there are some who genuinely, like I could say with me, you genuinely want to do stuff, but I don't expect nothing in return. I'm not keeping a tablet,
Mhm.
of all this stuff. One of the things that you can say when, or what you'll notice when a guy is actually doing stuff to get something out of return, they're gonna always remind you of what they did.
Mhm.
They're gonna always
Mhm.
push that whole narrative of what they've done, and they'll push every time you may have a disagreement about something. They're gonna make sure to nail that right back at you. The first time that they do that, yeah, he wasn't being genuine. He wasn't being genuine about what he was trying to do. He was just trying to be, like you say, build up credit. And
Mhm.
and then the other thing with that is that doesn't last very long. Like when a guy
Right.
starts doing that, in that first couple of months, usually if he ain't getting what he's looking for after that, he's like, that's when you'll see that Frankenstein monster, when all of a sudden he gonna transform into something that's, nothing like what he tried to present himself to be at first.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's very dangerous when I hear uh women who expect all of these extravagant, expensive first dates.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not about to allow a man that I'm meeting for the first time, we don't know each other that well, to go all out for me. And if I don't even know if I like him,
Right. I mean,
because that can easily be construed as you're trying to use me, you're trying to play games with me, and women have been killed by men for less.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. You
So
know,
I'm not going to play
that's
those kind of games.
right. The whole getting flued out thing, and you gonna take me out, and you gonna do this and do that and do that. Yeah, like most times, that's transactional. There's something
Hmm.
that they want in return. They're not just flying you out to Miami just because they want to be nice. You
Right.
know, on
And
a, this transactional, and if you don't fulfill your side of the transaction, it's gonna become a problem.
exactly, you can pay dearly
Oh yeah,
with your life or something else. So no.
right.
Next reason why, some people will appoint themselves to be a relationship superhero is they have low self-esteem and they need validation. Some
Oh
people
yeah.
may see fixing their partner as a way of boosting their own self-esteem. By fixing
Hmm.
somebody else, they gain a sense of accomplishment or validation, and that boosts their own self-worth. Because if I can fix somebody else and help them get on their feet, and be that person, to help somebody else achieve their goals and their dreams,
Hmm.
then I'm a valuable person, and I should be proud of myself. And a lot of times that really leaves you with a feeling of emptiness, because
Oh yeah.
while you're pouring it out into everybody else, it's not being poured back into you. And actually, a lot of times you're pouring already from an empty vessel, because
Hmm.
when you need that for your validation, that means there's something inside of you that's empty. And instead of filling up your own cup, you're going to pour out what you have left into somebody else, hoping that that's going to make you feel better about yourself. But it does not. I've tried it for many, many years of my
Hmm.
life, and it still left me feeling empty and lonely.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to the first situation that I was talking about with the young lady who, once I started, having issues and everything, I was a project. That kind of ties into this too, because one of the things that I noticed was that she took pride in what her exes, what they had accomplished once they got together. She was just like, yeah, he wasn't nothing when I met him, but look at him now. Look at him now. And I guess I was gonna be on the list. you know.
So I guess she builded men up so they can go out and be better men for other women.
I
She
guess
proud of
so.
that.
I guess so. She'll build them up to when they hot stuff and then they go cheat or do something, and then she's like, "Oh, they was horrible," and they was probably horrible to
Oh,
begin with. You just you just decided to still take on the project.
yes. And I, I I say it comes from low self-esteem, but there's
Mhm.
also an aspect, and this is something that I noticed about myself, that I had to admit about myself. It also comes from an aspect of arrogance, of believing that you're such a great person that you single-handedly,
Mhm.
out of all the other people from his past, you're going to be the one to change him and fix him
Mhm.
and make him into a good man. And I ain't worrying about all them other women in the past that you cheated on.
Mm.
I'm different.
Right, exactly. You different, all right. You got a different name. That's about it.
Right. You have to have a certain level of arrogance to believe that you're going to be better than everybody else that came before you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's arrogance. It's one of those things where you feel sometimes it's an overinflated amount of self esteem. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm just this chick, I'm just this, or I'm just this dude that I
Mm-hmm.
can, fix whatever's going. And I'm guilty of that because I had that in a couple of those relationships where my self esteem was just like, oh, well, I'm Gator, man.
You ain't met
And
me
you
yet.
ain't met me, man. Look, I could go ahead and flip that whole thing around, turn it upside down. What you talking about? And
Yeah.
then end up with my life getting turned upside down,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always something to
Yes.
be mindful of, to never think that you are going to be able to come out on top. Never
Yep.
think that, don't never go into a situation where what the odds are, and that it's something that you normally wouldn't do, but hey, I can win this. I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna work.
The I didn't gain the most peace that I've ever gained in my life was letting go of trying to control the outcomes of everything around me and not being in control of my inner world.
Yeah.
My I was out of control of what was going on inside of me, and so I felt like I can gain control back by controlling the things that's going on around me, the people and the situations and the outcomes. And that's the one thing you cannot control. You cannot control other people.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot control, I don't care how sweet and nice you are to somebody, you cannot make them
Yeah.
treat you a certain way. You cannot make them be loyal to you. And if you're not loyal to yourself, why do you
Mm-hmm.
expect somebody else to be it? And it
Right.
all starts within. Like, you think that person doesn't see that you have low self-esteem?
Right.
You think that person doesn't understand why you feel the need to go out of your way and do things for them? You think they don't see that you don't even treat yourself that way?
Right.
And a lot of times I look back and I realize when I was in those relationships where I was going above and beyond for people, they knew in their minds that they had not earned that from me.
Mm.
And so that made them have a low level of respect for me. They didn't respect me because they saw that I didn't respect myself.
Right.
They
Right. Right.
saw that I put more emphasis and more importance on them than I did myself. And so they looked down upon me for that. They
Right.
didn't
Right.
say it to my face, but the way they treated me lets me know that, well, if you don't care about yourself, what you want
Mm-hmm.
me to do?
Right, exactly. One of the things before we close up, one of the things that I did want to say is, and it's not a bullet point, but I think you brought it up kind of somewhat just now, and I think it's important. One of the reasons that sometimes you have that Mr. Saver or Miss Fix It vibe going with you is because you like to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there are people who are legitimate control freaks. They will
Mm-hmm.
date down just so they can have somebody that they can control, somebody that they know is going not just need them, but someone they know that, hey, look, I could dictate whatever happens in this relationship. He ain't gonna say no to me. She ain't gonna say no to me. I control what's going on in this field. And that happens a lot more than we like to admit, where you
Yep.
have women who will say, okay, well, I'm the breadwinner and he's with me, and yeah, I could probably find somebody better, but he gonna do anything I say. He gonna do, he's there. He ain't got nowhere else to go, so he gonna be right here, and they will keep that whole thing up. Yeah, I fixed him up. I got him. I did this for him. I did that for him. Now he good, but that's because he need me. And they look to be exalted. They look
Yep.
to be, acknowledged for what I did for you. you know,
Yeah.
that happens a
Yeah.
lot. You have those control freaks out there, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I was one of them. I wanted control because I wanted safety. I wanted
Yeah,
to be,
yeah,
I wanted to guarantee that I wouldn't be abandoned again. So I need to be in a relationship with somebody who I feel like I'm a little smarter than them. You
right,
know,
right.
I'm a little more advanced than them, and so
Hmm.
they're looking at me like I need her, um
Right.
to look good in life. I need her to gain access to better opportunities in life, so I need her. And so if I feel like they need me, then I'm in control.
Right, exactly. Let me upgrade you. You know,
Right, right,
like
exactly, that type of mentality. And
hmm
and it's so widespread that we don't even realize how affected we are by some of these ideas of relationships that we've idolized.
yeah,
And it's really problematic. uh, we celebrate codependent relationships. We celebrate songs that say, I need you, I can't live without you,
hmm
you my better half. If you just listen to some of these things that we say when we're talking about relationships, it's rooted in codependency, toxicity, narcissism. If I can't have you, nobody can.
yeah, yeah. That type of
We
that
we say
type of
all this stuff and we make it's really normalized, but when you really think about it, you like, do you really want to be in a relationship with somebody who say if I can't have you, nobody can?
right. That sounds a little toxic to me. There's a Tubi movie called If I Can't, I believe right now, because I was seeing clips of it on TikTok. See,
Mhm.
this is why I got to stay off TikTok too. So I was looking at it, and the dude was just getting, it's 2 week level acting here, and the
Uh-huh.
dude was, I guess the girl was moving to Atlanta, which everybody moved to Atlanta, and she was going to make a better life, and I guess he had told her, "Well, if I can't have you, nobody gonna have you." So he was for some reason he got invited to the going away party,
Yeah.
and I don't understand that either. But to be so. I guess the girl's friend was teasing him about ha ha ha. She gonna just walk out your life, ha 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 ha. And the dude was crazy, and he went in and he shot the girl and her son and all that kind of stuff. Shot the friend, shot himself. It just like I'm like, really? What is going on?
So he killed everybody and then himself?
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to be on the news, no murder suicide type of
Right,
deal.
right.
Mm-mm.
No, 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 no. But yeah, but I
No,
mean,
Romeo and Juliet, that was not a romantic story to me. I don't want to die together.
right,
No.
exactly.
Yes. So to close out, we want to close out on giving some, I mean, I think we gave a lot of helpful information. But it's essential to note that the idea of fixing a partner can be very problematic. Relationships should be built on mutual respect, support,
Hmm.
and a desire for personal growth. It's important to recognize that attempting to fix someone else can lead to unhealthy dynamics that we talked about. We
Yeah.
gave us several good examples of that. Enabling behavior and the neglect of one's own needs. And we definitely talked about that. Instead, focusing on personal development, effective
Hmm.
communication, and finding compatibility with a partner who supports individual growth can be more constructive.
Yes, that is definitely true. You definitely want to find somebody who's going to be already, shiny out the box, brand new. You
Mhm.
don't need a fixer upper. I'm going to invest in the
Yes.
fixer upper here, and I'm going to build this person. At least that shouldn't be your goal, right? Everybody has
Yes.
problems. Lifes. And
Yes.
everybody has gone through different things in their life, and it's good to be understanding. It's good to be, compassionate and empathetic to certain things that are person is going through. What it's not good to do is to see negative patterns and to see toxic traits in someone and think that you could come in with your hammer and bandsaw and turn them into $1 million enterprise. That's not gonna happen. And no matter how many times you try, it's just not gonna happen.
Exactly, because we're not saying that you're gonna meet a perfect person who has,
Right.
you know, no flaws, no character flaws, no past traumas that they're still working on, no mental health issues. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying
Right.
is you want to get with a person who is self-sufficient, sustaining themselves, not
Right.
somebody who needs you to come and pick them up out of the gutter and nurse them back to health. You want to meet somebody who is already on their own foundation and you're
Right.
on your foundation. And then y'all can come together and build on top of those foundations or merge them together. But if you got to come down off of your foundation to go build theirs and let yours sit over here just being neglected,
Right.
that I don't know if that's a relationship. I don't know. I
Exactly.
think that's a charity case.
Right. And I will say this, that's by necessity or by desire, right? Because I
Yeah.
brought up the young lady earlier. I had everything, going well for me. It's just that she wanted to make it better.
Yeah.
Like I got a plan that'll make you even better than it was before. And it's just like, I didn't ask you for that. Like, I'm doing well on my own. I got this thing going, and you got that thing going. We could have been, just chilling. But, sometimes you get someone who has a control complex and they feel like
Mhm.
they want to control how you do things. And, they want you to live in their vision of how your life should be.
Mhm.
And so that's one of those ways that you'll end up with a Mr. or Mrs. Fix It.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna help people and improve their situation, go mentor somewhere,
Right.
but don't get in relationships for that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in for another Dope Discussions Live Tuesday
Good.
night. We didn't get any comments tonight. I wonder. I'm not understanding that because I know we should
Oh,
get.
so normally we do, but what happened was, I told you I'll be keeping an eye on this YouTube. So what happened was apparently we were having some sort of, and I don't know if it was just us or if it was YouTube. It looks like it was just YouTube. Was having some sort of band issue because it looked like nobody had comments coming in for a while, and then all of a sudden, as you saw, the viewership went up at around
Yeah.
20 minutes in, and they had fixed whatever was going on. So
YouTube.
YouTube, I come for
Don't
you.
Don't you get me. All right, y'all. Well,
All
even
right.
if you didn't get to watch us live, if you watch this show, the replay,
Yeah.
hit us in the comment section and let us know what you feel about the discussion that we talked about. Add in your own 2 cents. I don't know. I just said 2 cents earlier. Now I'm asking people to give me their 2 cents.
I thought you said you ain't want my 2 cents.
Give me your dollars in the
That's better. You want to throw a couple dollars in the comments? That's all right.
Yes, because even after we go off live, I still get notifications of the comments. So we will reply in the comments. We can continue this conversation in the comments. So hit hashtag replay. Let me know that you watched it, what you thought about it. And give us some ideas on some future topics that you would like to listen to me and Gator discuss.
Yeah, because we actually discuss. We don't just yell at folk. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Gator, you had a topic that you wanted for us to discuss this next week and kind of give us a little sample of that, what we're gonna be talking about.
So the big thing that you saw in the last couple of weeks is this whole idea of respect in relationships, right? We all saw the whole scenario that happened with Keke Palmer and her beau, her baby daddy, as everybody want to say. That's her boyfriend, man. So we saw the whole thing about, what is respect in a relationship? What are the boundaries? What is going too far in a relationship? Should you be allowed to do certain things just because that's how you are? Or if you're a celebrity, man, or you're popular, you just a free flowing spirit, should people give you a little bit more leeway, when you're dealing with relationships with those types of people? And then us everyday people's relationships, what is going too far? Am I letting, my girl going to strip club all the time, or my man going to strip club, or, God forbid, he can't post me on social media? She can't post me on social media. What's the boundaries? What are we doing?
Yes. So when is it stepping outside of respect and becoming control?
Right.
Because a lot of times people use respect as a way to control. You disrespected me.
Right.
Because you're disagreeing with somebody. They say that you're disrespecting them. So that's a way for them to kind of shut your voice down. When
Right.
in reality, it's really not disrespect. It's just disagreement.
Right. Exactly. Sometimes that's what it is. It's just disagreement, but some folks take it way too far.
Yes, yes. So we're gonna be talking about the borderline of respect and control next week. So y'all come on back and tune in next Tuesday night, same time, same place.
All right, people. Peace out. See y'all later.
What we doing here?
YouTube.